Welcome to the Daily Devo. My name is Jessica, and today we're talking about a moment of surrender. Picture this. A large crowd have been loving listening to the teachings of Jesus, sermon after sermon, parable after parable. But all of a sudden, this hang with their favorite teacher has turned into 3 days. 3 days, 4,000 people have been with him for 3 days, and the food is running out. Let's jump into our text, Mark 8, verses 1 through 9. About this time, another large crowd had gathered, and the people ran out of food again. Jesus called his disciples and told them, "I feel sorry for these people. They have been here with me for 3 days, and they have nothing left to eat. If I send them home hungry, they will faint along the way, for some of them have come a long distance." His disciples replied, "How are we supposed to find enough food to feed them out here in the wilderness?" Jesus asked, "How much bread do we have?" 7 loaves, they replied. So Jesus took all the people and told them to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves, thanked God for them, and broke them into pieces. He gave them to his disciples, who distributed the bread to the crowd. A few small fish were found too. So Jesus also blessed these and told the disciples to distribute them. They ate as much as they wanted. Afterwards, the disciples picked up 7 large baskets of leftover food. There were about 4,000 men in the crowd that day, and Jesus sent them home after they had eaten. In this moment, Jesus is faced with a challenge, feeding over 4,000 people with hardly any resources. Now let's look back at verses 5 and 6. Jesus asked, "How much bread do you have?" 7 loaves, they replied. So Jesus told all the people to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves, thanked God for them, and broke them into pieces. He gave them to his disciples, who distributed the bread to the crowd. In this moment, we witness an incredible lesson about surrender and trust. The disciples only had 7 loaves and a few fish, far from enough to meet the needs of the vast crowd. Yet, when they offered what little they had to Jesus, he took it and gave thanks and multiplied it beyond imagination. Often we find ourselves in situations where our resources, time, or abilities seem insufficient. We wrestle through doubts, wondering, there's no way this will work. I'm not enough here. I'm not the right guy. Will this actually make a difference? Can I make a difference? Maybe in more practical situations, your doubts kind of wonder, does it really matter if I go and show up to that person's game? They won't notice if I don't come to small group this week. The meeting would be just fine if I didn't go. It's in these moments that Jesus invites us to surrender what we have, no matter how little, and trust him to work miracles. Jesus can work miracles with what we give him. Let me say that again. Jesus can work miracles with what we give him. This moment reveals a fundamental truth. Our seemingly insignificant contribution becomes opportunities for God to showcase his power and provision. As we journey through this series, let's carry with us the assurance that our surrender in the moment can lead to transformation. See, if we as followers of Jesus only attempt things that seem possible to us, with the resources we know that we have, we will miss out on seeing the wonders and miracles of God. In this moment, Jesus' followers obeyed and saw a miracle we're still learning from 2,000 years later. What's a situation you're in where you need God's sight to see beyond what you can see? What do you need to start praying more prayers of possibilities over than sitting in doubt and disbelief? In one moment, the impossible became possible with God. When you face a challenge, I'd love to encourage you to take a moment And instead of focusing on what's lacking, surrender your efforts to God, trusting that He can multiply what you offer. Likewise, in our careers, in our relationships, in our personal struggles, we may feel not enough. Remember the disciples and their 7 loaves. They only had 7 loaves. Offer what you have, whether it's time or skills, love, care, and watch as God multiplies it for His glory. Because Jesus can work wonders with what we give Him. So, my friends, let's welcome these small moments, offer them to Jesus, and witness what's possible from a moment of surrender. Remember, big idea of the day, Jesus can work wonders with what we give Him. Praying for you today, and thank you for watching the Daily Devo.